Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today I am going to do a community stream recap, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to also make this a poll planning video, because I know some people have been asking for poll planning. So what I think I'm going to do is my community stream videos, I will combo that and make that a poll plan video, and we'll just talk about the characters talked about in the slides, and then I'll just talk about if I'm going to pull for them or not, and then I might just give some general suggestions, because I mentioned this in a previous video, but like, what I would pull for maybe isn't the same as what I would recommend the average player to pull for, right? So let's go ahead and take a look. I'll just say there weren't any big surprises here, right? I guess there was one thing that I either never came to JP, could be a global first, or I just didn't know about it, but we'll talk about that. So first up, we've got a Winter Festival dropping, so that's going to be dropping in just a day here. So that's going to be coming out very, very soon. We got the Winter Festival. We're going to get 11 free first multi-draws, so during this, basically the entire month, pretty much every new campaign banner that comes out is going to be a free multi-draw, which is really nice. We are getting additional winter hunts with Santa Cactuars. So what these are, it's not just like going to change the normal Cactuar to a Santa one. It's an additional hunt you can do, which means essentially we're going to be getting double Cactuar tokens, which means more draw tickets or more resources, depending on what you usually grab out of there, right? So that's very, very nice to get, and there's going to be some extra rewards that tied with that. Also, they are bringing back the winter stickers. They are all returning stickers, except I think the bottom left one is a new sticker. So there's going to be like a new sticker there that is coming out. We have the stocking at the bottom, a new winter status badge. I honestly don't care about badges. I've got my little chocobo, and I just stick with that the whole time, right? Maybe one day they'll come out with a really cool one. And then we've got double Cycle Quest rewards and then Cactuar appearances. We also have World of Illusions Carbuncle, or not Carbuncle's treasures or whatever. Like, that's going to be going on again, which is really good, especially if you want to grind up like weapon and guard orbs. Triple effect support items are on sale, so if you need those, you can go ahead and pick those up. So that's basically it for the first part. And then our next character, which we were expecting, is going to be Sid Rain's FRBT. So he's going to come on November 30th, which, like I said, is like in a day, so he's the next thing coming. So we've got Rain's FRBT, we've got World of Illusions Spiritus Pandemonium, which makes sense with Rain's, because Pandemonium is a launching summon. So very much makes sense there. First multi-draw free, as we saw before. They're going to be Spiritus boosted characters, so you want to make sure that you're using those, the featured characters for this event. There's going to be, looks like a limited time weapon glass bundle with a Mog weapon there, and I believe that is the Mog Fist, because I believe that's what Reigns uses as fists. So there's a Mog weapon there. And then we have a limited time Lufenia co-op. Now this is kind of exciting because I do feel like co-ops are just way too easy. I mean, I guess people just want them to go fast, but actually doing Lufenia co-op I think is actually going to be really cool. So we're going to get a Lufenia co-op. I think that could be a lot of fun. We've got Emperor returning with his BT, and then we've got a rework for Reigns and for Xande. So Xande's actually going to rework, and they're getting force enhancements as well. And then Emperor, Layla, Porum, and Lulu, they're just getting force enhancements. So they're pretty much the same. Now, one thing I will say, I've gotten to the point on my channel where I've done character guides on darn near every character in the game. So when characters come back with just force enhancements, I'm not going to redo their guide. So if you say want to look up, Layla and see how good Layla is, you could just look up my guide on Layla. And I've already got one, and she really is going to be unchanged. Typically, any reworks or anything are just going to upgrade the numbers, right? Now, when new characters get FRs, like Reigns, I'm pretty sure I've done one on Reigns, but I'll probably do another one for his FR and talk about how his FR works, right? So just in terms of character guides, keep that in mind, right? Okay, so there's that. So then we have Dimensions End Tier 12. So they're going to have a campaign with that. They are going to add new missions for Tiers 10 and 11 to get rewards. They are returning rewards for 1 through 9. If you've already cleared those, you won't get those again. So the missions for 1 through 9 are only for players that haven't done it in the past. So like someone like me, I'm completely caught up. But I will get new rewards for 10 and 11, which is good. And then there's going to be additional daily missions that go with your daily Cactuars. So I believe what it is those additional daily missions just give you 2 more Cactuar tokens. So, you're going to have the Santa Cactuars, you're going to have the regular Cactuars, and then you're going to get bonus missions. So a lot of Cactuar tokens coming. So you might want to keep in mind how you want to use those. Like a player like me that's like pretty built up, I just get tickets every time. But like you might want to save up and get some EX tokens, or you might need like red books or red ingots. Like some of that stuff is in there, right? Okay. Final Fantasy Portal app campaign. Basically, this stuff will just happen automatically, but if you use the Portal app, go ahead and participate. They're not telling us what the last reward is, I'm going to assume probably gems or something associated. Maybe they'll be really nice and give us like a burst book or burst ingot or a blue book, a blue ingot, something like that. I don't know. They could give us something like that for the Lufenia armors. We'll see. And the next character we have on December 5th is Anna Crow. She's getting her FR. And then I do have a guide on Anna Crow, but I'll probably redo it for her FR, right? And then this is just a typical Lost Chapter event, so it's going to be a quick, easy event. Reigns BT will still be there, first multi-free. Obviously, Anna Crow's getting a rework and update, so nothing too crazy there. Then December 8th, we have a raid event with Lilith FR. Kind of excited about Lilith. I'll talk about the characters, though, that I'm actually going to pull for. First multi-free, which is great. Weapon Gloss with the Chocobo stick there. Jegrin BT. Everybody's going to be clamoring for that Jegrin BT. Better watch out. And then Reigns will be on that as well. And then Lilith obviously getting the rework and force enhancements. And then Shulk and Jegrin getting their force enhancements. Okay, then on December 15th, we've got Seymour. I know a lot of people are excited for Seymour. He's a pretty interesting character. His costume's pretty fire, not going to lie. Pretty cool costume there. So we got Dimensions End Transcendence Tier 12 is dropping here. So I might have mentioned Tier 12 early. Sorry, the previous one was just a campaign for like going up through Tier 11. But Tier 12 is actually the new one dropping, and it drops here with Seymour. So limited time co-op missions. There's a support mission. Even though Dimensions End 12 is permanent, there's going to be limited time like missions and stuff that'll come with that. Another Lufenia co-op, so that's kind of fire. So, and somebody can let me know if this is like on JP, like are co-ops all going to be Lufenias moving forward, or are these just like special ones? But I kind of like the idea of Lufenia co-op. Like that sounds kind of fun to me. First multi-draw free. And then we got Prish BT. I'm a big fan of Prish. I think Prish is really awesome. I just don't think she can compete with most like of the modern BT characters, but she puts up some heavy damage. Like her LD is still to this day one of the hardest hitting LDs in the game. Like she hits, because her LD when she dropped was hitting like 2 mil, like not in force time. So she can hit hard. She can hit like a truck, right? She just doesn't have a force time to back it up. Like now, she could operate in someone else's force time, probably do a lot of damage, right? So she would probably do really well maybe in like, I don't know, a Tifa force time or something, but obviously you just use Tifa, right? So we're getting rework and force enhancements for Seymour, Guy, and Fang. So Fang getting a rework is kind of interesting, because I kind of like Fang, so hoping she looks a lot better here. I've never been a fan of Guy, but I got his kit, so I can use him if I want to. And then force enhancements for Prish, King, and Trey. Alright, and then we have a story support campaign. So now this is the thing that I've never heard of before. Now JP may have gotten this. I don't keep up like super tightly knit with JP, right? So if there's a JP player that wants to let me know if this is like a global exclusive thing, or if this was in JP. But what they're doing is they are giving you rewards for completing various parts of the story. And so if you're a player like me that's got the whole story done, like this is going to drop and you're just going to get a bunch of rewards. Like you don't have to redo it, right? So this is good for everybody, because like if you've already got it done, here's a bunch of rewards. And they're showing like Ultima Cores, high power stones, force stones. Like there's good stuff in here. Character points, which I know for newer players is really, really important. There is some really, really good stuff in here. So I'm hyped just to like load up my game that day and just have a bunch of rewards in my box. And then for newer players, this is good incentive to go through and complete the story. And you can complete the story ahead of time. You do not have to wait till this drops. So if you're a player right now watching this and this isn't done yet, maybe in your free time, or maybe while you're playing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you can just be auto grinding this on the side, right? Not a bad idea. Plus you're going to get all the gems and hope you save up for characters you want to pull for, right? Then we have Intersecting Wells for Maria. Just going to say, this got to be one of the most fire costumes. Like, this costume is an instant buy for me. So, I'm just throwing that out there. This costume is too fire not to buy. And I kind of like Maria. So, I'm going all in on that costume for sure. Intersecting Will, very quick, short, easy event. Nothing too crazy there. First multi-draw is free. Obviously, picking up that costume for Maria. Theodore BT is coming back. Seymour BT will be featured again. And then rework and force enhancements for Maria and Theodore. Okay, and then they ended off here with Yuna FR dropping at the very end of the month. First multi-draw free, new event there. It's a Heretic event, by the way, so that's the type of event we got going on here. Yuna and Seymour BT, and then rework and force enhancements for Yuna. So very, very fire there to kind of end out the month. So that's basically what's coming. No surprises there really. Now I know in my BT token guide I talked about Jack Garland. I thought there could be a chance he could get, because I know he's going to drop like right away at the beginning of January. was his slated schedule, but sometimes those like first character of the month, sometimes they dip into like right at the end of the month, right? So this Heretic event starts on December 23rd, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. Like Jack Garland should be the next thing right after Yuna. So Garland definitely could still drop in December, and they are doing the community stream on December 22nd. So what very well could happen is this Heretic event could drop on the 23rd, and then say like, I don't know, Christmas Day or the day after Christmas, like December 26th, I could definitely see Jack Garland just dropping, right? Or maybe, you know, definitely probably for New Year's or by New Year's, I could see Jack Garland dropping. So he's going to be dropping very shortly, like at most like 7 days after Yuna. But I think it's going to be pretty darn quick after Yuna. Within, you know, 3 to 7, maybe 8 days, we'll probably see Jack Garland, unless they throw something in the mix, right? But I would expect the community stream on December 22nd, they're going to open with Jack Garland. Or they'll open with like, here's the New Year's campaign, and then the next slide will be Jack Garland. Like, that's what I'm predicting the community stream to look like, so just be ready for that. Now I'm going to go into the second part of the video. I'm going to do poll plans. So I know people have been asking for it, so I'm going to kind of go through all the characters in the slides again and tell you who I plan to pull for. Now keep in mind, I've got every character fully built, so the only thing I'm going to be missing for these characters is like a new FR or a new BT, right? And also keeping in mind my resources are low. So my plan is I'm probably, whoops, don't want to go that far. I'm probably skipping most of this. Like I'm probably going to, I'm just going to say this right now. If you're low on resources, this is actually a pretty good month to say. I know that's kind of crazy for December and Christmas and whatever, but there really aren't any like must-have characters this month. There really isn't, right? So it's going to come up to personal preference and what you like. So when we go here, first character is Reigns. I'm 100% skipping Reigns. I'm not going to pull for Reigns. I've got Reigns fully built. He operates just fine, like for his launching, like LD only. I don't feel like I'm going to need his FRBT. And the other thing is, and here's my thought process for it, right? For me to want to pull an FR character, that's me saying I want to use their force time, and I want them to be like a big part of that damage, right? Well, I've got Tifa and Renoa, and then I've got all these defense. I've got like more FRs than I could ever need to get through all of the content up until whatever the next difficulty spike is, right? So with that in mind, and being that I already have all of these characters fully built, there's really no incentive for me to go in on this. Now, if you're someone that you don't have any launch characters, or you really miss having launch, or you want to have launch, sure, Sid Reigns can be a good pickup. What I'm going to say is this, though. If you're someone that wants to use Reigns FR, you're going to want the BT. I talked about this in the BT token guide, but if you're going to go all in on Reigns, you want the full kit for him. For me, I'm fine having him, and he's a great LD-only character because he's a really good call. Or you could bring him in the party just to help provide launching, but I think Selfie's going to be a little bit better for that. But yeah, I for my personal needs, I have no need for Reigns. I'm definitely not going to pull an Emperor. I think I've got his whole kit, so there's nothing to even pull for there. Let's go to the next one here. Anna Crow, I've got her fully built up to LD. So Anna Crow, like, she's still going to operate good without the FR. Like, her as a character, like, her whole kit will operate. The thing that's different that you guys have to remember with an FR as opposed to like an LD or BT, the FR doesn't really affect their main kit. It's all about just like doing damage for a force time. But like Anna Crow's like fully functioning kit and like Sid Reigns' fully functioning kit, like they're going to function the same whether you have the FR or not. It's just a matter of you might get a little bit more stats from having the weapon equipped if they're not a BT character and you don't have the ultimate weapon. But that's it. So like me, zero incentive to pull Anna Crow's FR. Once again, my FR phases are going to be, I'm going to be using like Minwoo, Celis, Renoa, Tifa. Like those are the FRs I'm using. I don't see a need to use any other FRs besides like the bajillion FRs I already have, right? And I think part of the reason my resources are low is because I went really heavy in FRs, like pretty much up until this point, right? So I'm planning to skip Anna Crow. I'm not going to pull there either. Lillicet, no, I'll be honest, Lillicet I'm a little tempted, but I wouldn't recommend the average player pull for Lillicet FR, but Lillicet's a cool character. She's a really nice battery support character with some good debuffs, and one of her debuffs does do HP damage up, which is very good. Like, Lillicet Call is actually a call that I use, because she does have an HP damage up. I think it's 20%. Now, I haven't looked at her with the rework. It might even be better after the rework. But Lillicet, I've just always liked her. So this would be, I'd say, the first character that I might pull on. But here's the thing. I don't need to because I have her full kit. And I'm probably not going to use her as my main FR. But depending on what my resources, I may pull just because I like Lilith, but I wouldn't recommend the average player. Jegren's the biggest skip in DFFOO history ever since he released. And then once again, range BT will be there if you're looking for that. Seymour is a skip for me as well. I just don't... Seymour isn't bad. I just don't like the way he's built. I don't like the way that he basically starts off pretty bad or mediocre. But he does get really good, but it's as the enemy's health depletes. And in today's meta, it's literally like, I'm going to charge up to a force gauge really quick. The enemies are probably going to be at like 85 to 90% when I go into that. And at that point, Seymour's not even like looking that good. And then you just burst them down to nothing. So like the part where Seymour's looking good is when the enemies are like 50% or less, is when they're going to be looking really, really good. And most of that, you're just skipping through that with a giant force time anyways, right? So like, Seymour's just not doing it for me. I know a lot of people like Seymour, so I'm not going to like slander him. Like, he's good. He's just not my cup of tea, so I'm 100% skipping on Seymour. Prish, I've got her blue-green. I love Prish. I would say, like, if you don't have Tifa or Rinoa and you just want, like, a nice damage dealer to hold you over, like, Prish can be nice, but keep in mind, she doesn't have a force. So I'd say if you want a damage dealer, like, if you want a damage dealer out of characters this month, I would say Reigns or Seymour are probably the two best ones in terms of, like, just straight-up damage dealers. And they have FRs that they can do really well in. But for a side character, Prish is one of the better FRs you could... Or not FRs, but DPS characters you could pull, right? So she's very good. But yeah, that's probably 100% skip for me there. And then Maria, I already mentioned earlier, I'm going to go for her costume. I already have her fully built, but I'm probably going to go in on her FR just because I like Maria. Her costume's super fire. Maria is kind of like a debuff support character, like a utility character. She has some healing, has some traps. Like, she's cool. I like her playstyle, but she's not like a must-pull for anyone, right? So, like, in terms of mine, and then Yuna, I'm 100% skipping Yuna. Not that Yuna's bad. Yuna's really good, but I've got her built all the way to BT. So once again, it's one of those characters where she's going to operate just fine, and I'm not planning to use her force time. So there's no need for the force, especially with Yuna, because I already have a burst, and it's green, by the way. So her stats are going to be really good. Her stats are going to be better than if she had the FR, because the green BT is better than an FR. So all I'm missing on with Yuna by not pulling is I'm just not having her force time, which I do not need, because once again, my force time, because I see Yuna as like a support, like she's going to be like in that Luna Freya role or something like that, where I would still just pair her up with Rinoa or Tifa, and then that's going to be my FR, right? Yuna's very good, and I'm not going to blame anyone for pulling her. I would say this, like, if we're looking at every character this month, if I told every player who, like, didn't have any character who to summon on, I would say Yuna's probably the best of the batch, just because she's a very good support character, and support characters are so much more valuable than, like, DPS characters, right? Like, as good as Reigns might be, you can't launch in every fight, and it's kind of situational. But when he does launch and his turn manipulation comes into play, he is ridiculously good. Seymour, once again, very good. I just don't like that HP mechanic that he's got, where the enemy's got to get lower for him to look better, right? So I would say if I were to recommend just like flat out a character like Yuna, or even Maria or Lilith, I like support characters. Like, support characters, I would rather have more of those, especially flexible ones that work on a lot of team comps, than to have like a bunch of DPS, because DPS characters are coming out all the time. Now, the thing you have to remember when you're doing your pull planning is, I know a lot of you are going to be tempted by Yuna, but you got to make sure if you're going to pull for Yuna, you need to have enough resources for two characters, because like I said, Jack Garland's going to follow her up, and that's like a main top tier meta DPS character that you are going to want if you're playing this game for meta, right? If you're just playing for fun, just pull all your favorites. Doesn't matter. You can skip Jack Garland, do your thing. But just keep that in mind with Yuna, that Jack Garland's probably going to be following her up, and he's busted as all heck. So for me, this is a very, very light month for me. Like I said, the only ones that I might go in on would be Maria and Lilith. And then if my resources are okay, I may go for Yuna, just because the other thing that factors it for me is how much I've invested in the character already. And I think my Yuna is blue-green. So I've invested good materials into her. So I may want the FR just for funsies, but we'll see. But my plan right now is just a little bit on Maria, a little bit on Lil Lisette. I'm not planning to gem any banners. I'm doing only tickets this month. So anyways, guys, there you go. There's the community stream slides and my December poll plans. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.